All right, this is part 2 on how to make an amulet or a talisman. Okay, so you have pulled the energy into this object. Depending on what kind of psychic abilities that you have developed so far, you can sort of usually sense this. Sometimes you might even get this physical sensation of like, kind of like static electricity, like a tingling sort of thing, or like your hands might feel warm. The object is probably going to feel warm. If it doesn't, that's okay. It doesn't mean it didn't work. You might be able to see it if you have clairvoyance or the ability to see energy. And there's also just kind of like if you have like clairsentience, that being able to like feel the energy. So those are like options specific to like if you're already developing your clairs. Okay, so that's how that's how you're going to put the spell work on this. You can put it's pretty much limitless about the amount of spell work that you can put on the object. Just make sure that whatever you're doing is not counteracting each other, right? Like, don't put like love magic or like lust magic or like come to me kind of magic on something if you're also going to be using protective magic on it, because they're going to cancel each other out. So just be aware of clashing energies, right? Make sure that it's things that work together, which in general is probably going to be necessary for everything that you're wearing, not just necessarily one thing, but that's an opinion. So choosing crystals and things that align with those purposes are going to make them more powerful, right? So also, let's talk about the differences between an amulet and a talisman. So a talisman has generally like one purpose, right? It's usually protection. So like you have, so here's the difference. Okay, so this is a talisman, right? Its only purpose is protection. It's different types of protection, but it's all protection work on this. Okay, so this is an amulet, right? Which is, it's helpful if this is got crystals involved, you know, something that can help hold energy, because that is the difference, is that this has, you know, the magic on it for whatever purposes, but it also holds and stores your energy, and it can be a point of connection for whatever like source energy that you're using, right? So if you really work with like elemental energy, right, like earth energy, you know, you would want to choose like stones that are grounding, that are going to connect you to that energy, because it's going to help you feel less drained than you would if you weren't wearing it. Like, I accidentally broke this the other day, and I didn't fix it until like the next night before live, and I felt like crap all day. Right, so this has protection work, and it has the psychic filter on it, which aligns with the obsidian and the amethyst, because amethyst is like a like psychic connection stone, right? And then obsidian is also like grounding and protection, etc. So these two stones are really great for like psychic protection kind of amulet, and then this stores like my energy and gives me a point of connection so that I don't have to work as hard. You know, like it's hard to explain exactly, but when we're trying to channel energy, when we're trying to pull energy into us for whatever purpose we're using it for, that can be hard. It can be like sort of dialing into the right frequency, and then even if you're used to tapping into it, sometimes you've got this tiny little channel that's, you know, that's this big around. But when you're using like an amulet, that it will take time probably for it to kind of become familiar with that energy, if that makes sense, because you're going to have to work with that energy and pulling that specific energy into this as well as your own. So, which you don't really have to do for a talisman. So your hold on. Sorry, I forgot what I was saying. So choosing crystals that align with what you're doing, and then like practicing with connecting that energy. And then once you've done that, it can be a good solid like channel point for pulling in that energy. And if you have the work on it as a psychic filter, that will help you not take in too much, right? If too much energy goes into a crystal, depending on the types of crystals, they can crack. Just so you know, okay? It's happened to me a couple of times. It hasn't happened to me with this, but it just depends on what you're using it for, how hard it's working, because certain things, like if they're collecting a lot of energy, especially like negative energy, quartz particularly, I have had several quartz break on me. So it depends on what it is, and that kind of stuff. You can sort of find sources about what crystals are going to work best for what. You're going to want to, I forgot a step. I can't believe I forgot a step. Cleansing your item needs to happen first. Okay, cleansing the item that you're going to use needs to happen first. There's a lot of options that you can use for this. I think I probably have a video on that. I can do another one if I need to. But you want to cleanse it, okay? You can use smoke from protective herbs. You can use smoke from incense. You can use salt. You can use salt water, depending on the crystal. Certain crystals you don't get wet. Like, you don't get, like, selenite wet. It'll ruin it. Some people use, like, you know, sound, like frequencies and stuff like that. There's a lot of options for cleansing, okay? So just make sure you do that first so that you've got a clean slate before you try to put the energy into it. Otherwise, you may have conflicting stuff, right? Okay, so, trying to think if there's anything I'm forgetting. You want to focus on, you know, so we're charging the sigil, then we're cleansing the item, then we're charging the sigil, then we're placing the object on top of the sigil, and we're charging the object with that intent, focusing on the sentence. It's easy to use the sigil, easier to use the sigil, because that's going to give you a focus point. That's going to give you, so your mind's not wandering all over the place. You know what your intent is because you put it in that sentence, right? And so you've got it in the sigil that you've created with that purpose. And then you've charged the sigil with that same purpose. So when you're putting the item on there, like, you're pulling that intent and then you're amplifying it even more as you put that energy in with that sentence in your mind. Okay, so yeah, so the process is pretty much the same for amulets and talisman, with the exception of kind of how you connect the energy and how you expect it to use that energy, right? So you can make a talisman for protection, you know, whatever, like that kind of thing, and that's probably going to work great for whatever, and it doesn't really matter kind of what you use. If you're making an amulet, however, you sort of want something that's at least natural to be able to store that energy properly and release it reliably, you know, consistently. Hold on. Okay, I think I covered everything on how to make an amulet. If you guys have questions, let me know. I will do another part to answer any questions that you guys have. If you don't know about the class that I teach on Wednesdays at 9:45 Eastern Standard Time, I teach a class on psychic development and witchcraft. So if it's something that you're interested in, there's a link to my Discord in my bio. That's where we do all of our communication. And then we have our classes over Zoom every week. And we cover like a wide range of classes. And I just started like lesson 1 again this week. So if you're interested in joining that, just join the Discord, and I'll like accept your request or whatever. Side note really quickly, you can use sigils on things without necessarily putting it on an item, right? You can write it on things, make sure you charge it, right? Or it's not going to do anything. But make sure you charge it, and then you can write them on literally anything. I have them everywhere. So yeah, let me know if you guys have questions. If there's anything else that you want to know about, let me know, and I will cover it. That class really covers a lot, and we can face-to-face have conversations about questions and stuff like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, found it helpful. Let me know in the comments and leave a like and all that fun stuff. Thank you. Bye.